Welcome to Main Street Mavericks, celebrating conversations with exceptional Main Street businesses who serve friends and neighbors in your community. Here's your host, Joel Helfer.
Hi, this is Joel Helfer from Main Street Mavericks Radio, and welcome to the show sponsored by QuotedAuthorityMedia.com, the online firm that has done-for-you services for radio talk show hosts. We're delighted today to have a remarkable contractor on Main Street Market Radio. His name is Brandon Bing. Brandon studied economics and business management at both Rollins College and Florida Southern College. He is an award-winning contractor and owner of All American Solar LLC, which he has run for the last 6 years. All American was started back in August, and they were the top contractor for Home Advisor 2016, and they were also awarded the largest solar residential installation in Marion County. His company's mission is to provide honest, reliable service that stands head and shoulders above the rest. Welcome to the show, Brandon, and thanks for coming today.
Thank you very much for having me this morning, Joel. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You have a very interesting business because solar energy is a major trend today to help homeowners save money with their utility bills. Tell me, how do people save money with the installation of solar panels?
Basically, when homeowners are considering wanting to do a solar installation for their home, they look at a multitude of areas in regards to their household energy consumption to, help determine where their waste is being contributed from, in a day-to-day basis. So we provide in-home evaluations that can assist homeowners in trying to determine what type of solar panel installation is going to be applicable to their household needs. But first and foremost, we want to look at some of the basic things that most homeowners have a good understanding of, such as their air condition consumption from their water heaters, based off if they're electric, insulation, in the home through the attic, the walls, proper ventilation, and then of course, if they have a pool, check their pumps and their lighting in their house as well. And then after we go through that information, then we are able to have a better depiction of what the loads are consuming in the home, and we cross-reference their electric bills on a month-to-month basis over the course of the last fiscal year. That gives us a lot of pertinent information to do our calculations through the evaluation and properly size the system for their house.
It sounds like this is a very sophisticated operation. And one of the things that people are always worried about and skeptical about, how do you choose the right contractor for this job? And what are some of the questions that people should be asking when deciding on how to choose a solar contractor?
Basically, it's real important that the homeowners take the opportunity to do a lot of due diligence. Internet research is real important, especially with the way technology has been in current days. As we all know, a lot of people pretty much travel, on a day-to-day basis with their smartphones or their computers. So, having access to using sites like Google, review sites like, Home Advisor, using things like the Better Business Bureau, market research in their general zip code or city areas that they reside in through the town. That gives a good benchmark position for homeowners to figure out what contractors can assist them. And then, once they go through that process, then they can take a look at certain key pieces of information, such as the business's, integrity, such as, how long they've been in business, if they hold their own license. There's a website through the State of Florida called the DBPR, where it's a regulation board committee. You can basically type in the contractor's company name and see who the qualified contractor is for that operation. And that lets you know, hey, is this company, holding their own license, or are they using a license, from another third party, and just trying to sell the services? I think that kind of speaks for itself, as far as, who is a better qualified company in that regard. And in addition, checking out customer references. I mean, reviews and ratings is huge. A lot of people in today's time spend, a lot of their due diligence in trying to just read about customer experience. I think, homeowners have a better tight grasp on it when they can relate to somebody maybe in their same geographic area, or something that's done a application of the equipment that we provide along, the lines of what they're considering. And if they take those steps, they're going to have a much better option to get a better match. And I definitely recommend, getting when you're getting to the point of pulling the trigger, on this type of install, since it isn't a small investment, that they have a couple of people come out, if it's available in their area, and just get a good, feeling for, what types of services they provide, where the equipment's manufactured, and most importantly, what they can expect as far as, customer service.
That sounds like very good advice. It sounds like American Solar LLC is definitely the company to call. One thing I was talking to your dad, and he was telling me that you're using drones now in your business, which is the latest rage. How are you using drones to help your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the engineering standpoint is concerned, I have a lot of personal experience, my territory. I do a lot of work up in the Marion Lake, Alachua, Sumter County area, through Putnam, all the way up to, Dixie County and the Florida, Georgia line. So those northern areas, because it's a more rural area, as far as geographical, scape, on these properties, I deal with a lot of farms, I deal with a lot of ranches, and custom projects, whether it's a ground rack, pergola, a carport structure, a barn structure, as far as these applications. And having the drone gives us really good aerial pictures through a 4K camera lens, and very good footage as far as doing a proper pre-site survey. It helps our engineer. We have an in-house PE engineer that takes the time to do site-specific drawings for every single project that we do. And the drone can provide pertinent information that he can't see, because that engineer is not at the job site specifically during the time, the point of sale. So we're kind of like the eyes in the field for him when he's sitting, down with the CAD drawings to do the panel layouts, the structural layouts, and as well as the electrical line diagrams for the wiring for the systems.
I imagine this new technology is a big step forward from the old days where you had to actually physically climb up on the roofs. Huh? Yeah. It probably saves definitely
it's light years ahead, I'd have to say. It's not like the prehistoric times anymore. We pretty much have the tools and resources at our disposal to get all the information that we need pretty much instantaneously. Like I said, the drone gives us a lot of aerial footage for the homeowner, helps them be more confident in their buying decision. But more importantly, it provides us the opportunity with some of the tools and applications that we use for calculating the sun exposure level, the levels of irradiation that the panels are going to receive, the efficiency that the panels can get based off of the way the house is located on the property, and also, of course, the tilt plane of the roof, whether it's a fixed, home application or if it's a custom structure.
Does it have to be sunny for the solar panels to work, or can they work on cloudy days as well?
The equipment that we utilize, there's lots of different types of manufacturers of equipment in the consumer marketplace. For us, our application is a premium application, and the microinverters that we, recommend for homeowners to use on these systems are able to operate and function in cloudy weather. Now, obviously, if it's a cumulus cloud or a very thick layer of sky above the panels, it is going to have impact on the overall output yield and efficiency of the equipment, on that day compared to a normally sunny day. But they're not going to have to worry about the system not functioning at all. If they can lose conservatively 15 to 30% of the efficiency of that panel, in solar talk, what we always kind of go by is if a panel can generate a kilowatt hour per panel per day, that's a reasonable baseline. Uh-huh. So if the panel is being impacted by cloud cover on a rainy day, you can expect 15 to 30% loss on that panel. The one thing that really separates this equipment from a lot of the other counterparts is a microinverter that we recommend is a lot more superior in a lot of ways compared to a string or what they call a central inverter. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that is because a microinverter gives you the opportunity that each panel has one microinverter under each panel. So, for example, if you had 20 panels on your roof, you're going to have 20 microinverters, right? And if you were to have a central inverter, you would just have one box that's a fixed box on the side of the house. It's like a string of Christmas lights. A string system runs in series. So if one of the panels were to be impacted in a cloudy day like you were describing, Joel, then what would happen on that system is the whole string on that whole, what they call electrical branch circuit, would be shut down. So you would have zero yield, and that would be concerning to the average consumer, right?
Yeah, do you also have to have a regular electrical system as a backup, or is the solar energy system the backup? Which is the primary energy source for a home?
So with solar is concerned, everybody's required to be hooked up to their utility grid. The utility company, regulates that in the state of Florida. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a monopoly or, an oligopoly. There's a lot of monopolistic competition between the providers of solar from the standpoint that, Florida Power and Light, Duke Energy, and a few other smaller outfits, generate power. Orlando Utility Commissions uses coal. You have Florida Power Utility Commissions up in Putnam County that uses natural gas. So these outfits are regulating our utility grid is not an unparalleled grid where you can just choose your utility company like places in Texas. In Florida, wherever you are geographically is where your system is going to be, that provider. You're going to have to use that utility provider. And just cross-referencing back to the microinverter, with the microinverter application as well, you're going to get the yield of some form of production because that system does run parallel. So if one of those panels is affected by cloud and it's sunny on the other panels, the rest of those panels are going to still operate 100%. You're not going to lose any AC yield. And if for anybody that doesn't know what AC is, it's basically your alternating current, and that's what our utility grid is ran off of.
So just for the layman who doesn't really understand too much about solar energy, the whole idea of installing a solar energy system is to save money on your utilities. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what's some of the biggest misconceptions people have when thinking about solar energy? What are some of the things that they aren't quite right when they're thinking about?
I think, there's a few main points that a homeowner that's considering solar is going to be a little gun shy about. Some of the biggest, misconceptions or reservations that homeowners have when considering solar is, number one, that it's too expensive. Mm-hmm. Number two, I would say, is the return rate on the investment, your ROI. And number three is, the quality of the equipment. Where is that equipment manufactured? Is it manufactured in China, Mexico, the United States? That sits, it hits home for a lot of people as being a very important factor when making this type of decision for their home. Because your home is your second largest investment outside of your family.
You're right. And where is your equipment made? Is a lot of it made in the United States?
100% of our equipment that we use is manufactured here in the United States. Our module manufacturer is that we recommend, and what we use on every one of our installs is a SolarWorld module. They actually last week just got award again for the best panel manufacturer across the globe internationally as a solar module provider. And those products are made in Hillsboro, Oregon.
Uh-huh.
All of the framing of the equipment is aircraft aluminum. It won't rust, deteriorate, or corrode. It's all anodized. The glass panes are tempered. The silicone is a premium silicone. It's a black cell. It's a monocrystalline silicone. And everything is extracted from local valleys on the West Coast. And as far as, all of the equipment, there's never been a single product recall, which I think was pretty superior over the last 42 years of existence of the corporation.
Well, there's a lot involved in this type of installation. I understand that you were awarded the top home advisor for your industry last year. Congratulations. That's a wonderful honor. How did you get started in this business? What brought you to solar energy?
Basically, and again, thank you for, as far as, our success with that, with that award. That it means a lot to us. It definitely is something that, we're real proud of, based off the time that our business has been around, to be able to have that type of impact for our community. I started in this business over the last 6 years ago. And what had happened was I had originally worked in the finance industry from high school through college. And unfortunately, during, 08, 09, when the bubble burst and the housing market, collapsed, it didn't make financing as a industry a really desirable opportunity for me. At the age of 23, 22, 23, I was trying to figure out, really where my direction was going to be for a career. And, finance just was not, looking pretty bright for us, especially since a lot of people were trying to pull their money out. But what it did was it did give me a segue. I was able to use a lot of that real life experience that I've had in the past working with people's money, assisting them with different investments from, stocks and mutual funds, and I saw the transparency when it came to solar. It's funny you asked that, but I had two opportunities where I was looking for a job, and the one job was a business-to-business job down in Orlando, where I was going to have the opportunity to, sell, I guess, what do you call it? First aid equipment, vending machine, toilet paper, things like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, this sounds
supplies, all types of supplies.
Yes, sir. So I mean, I was pretty I was like, all right, I could kind of see this, but I was a little taken back by it because I was like, what is the real opportunity here? Is it really going to allow me to be successful? And is it really going to allow me to engage really with consumers? And I really like working more with people, in the community more than I do working on a corporate level. I hate wearing a suit and tie. I like wearing jeans, boots, and a Columbia shirt is good enough for me. So I had an opportunity to, use my skill set where I could engage in a field. And instead of working in a corporate environment, could be out driving around house to house. I get to kind of get my hands dirty and my feet wet because I could, work on equipment, things that I've always liked to use my hands. So that was always good. And then I got to have the engagement in the interpersonal relationship with the customer. I could provide them something that was going to be a solution for their home to help them save money long term. And more importantly, I think, like I said, is the notion that I could really give back to the community that I was raised in. So that's kind of how I transitioned into solar. And with the finance mind that I had, it made it really easy to help homeowners that don't have a good understanding how they could break down the numbers and see it's a really smart investment and a very safe investment, to say the least.
And does it add a lot of value to the home when the people go to sell it?
That's actually a really good, question. there's been several, articles that have been released over the past year, in the second quarter and coming into this fourth quarter, based off different regions across the country. In the state of Florida, it's been perceived that on average, basically for every 3.5 kilowatts of solar or 14 panels, you could see roughly around $911 would be added back per panel. It was about 12,760 was a baseline average across the state, from the Gulf side of Florida to the east side through the housing market. Now, obviously, to be impartial, many realtors are going to have different varying opinions. I think it really does depend on the socioeconomic area that the realtor is selling the property in, and the desirability for the consumers in that area to be more energy conscious. So I do think there is a little bit of a range, but it will add value. Like I said, I think different people in the real estate industry are going to have varying opinions on how much it actually adds.
Yeah, naturally, it isn't something where you can actually quantify it.
No, you can't quantify it, and to be honest with you, I think, like I said, it's really going to be the perception. If you go buy a house, a lot of these neighborhoods that pop up in today's time in the Florida market are a lot of like cookie cutter homes, basically is what I call them. You have 1 or 2 or 3 different floor plans to choose from in a community, and then the homeowner chooses the features and benefits, right?
Correct.
So if I took house A and I took house B, and both of those units are side by side, and both of those homes that are side by side had the same footprint, square footage, same amenities, same appliances, and you said, okay, house A's got a $150 to $200 electric bill, and house B has a net zero electric bill, and all they have to pay is the gross sales tax and the hookup or the customer charges and fees associated with their utility provider. Which one is going to be more advantageous to purchase? And, when you break it down to the average Joe, it's like this, Joel. If I take, for example, if I take a $200 electric bill and I don't incorporate inflation into it, I don't incorporate any added fees or taxes associated with that utility, I just take $200 times 12 months, that's $2,400 in utility expense, right?
Right.
And then over the course of 10 years, let's say, you live in a house for 10 years, conservatively, if your average bill's like that, you're going to spend at least, $24,000 in utility expense, if not more. And we know it's probably going to be more.
It's probably going to go up.
Exactly. When does fuel, yes, I know, fracking and different things in the oil industry has caused fuel prices to go up and down. But, as a whole, we know that things always go up over the years. Someone back in the day in the 60s, 50s, 60s, when a nickel or a quarter could go, a lot further back then, it doesn't go anywhere near what it can go, today as it did back in those days, right? So it's the same generalized concept. But simply put, if you have $24,000 of projected utility expenditures on that property, and then all of a sudden you look at another home that has basically zero, with the exception of some of the fees and customer hookups, which might amount to maybe $1,000 over 10 years time, which one is going to be a more viable solution?
Well, yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's probably one of your largest selling points is the fact that you can save people money over a long period of time.
Right.
What's one of the more interesting installations you've done in the last year or two, something that you're very proud of?
I've had a lot of, really interesting projects. Like I said, having the opportunity to work in a lot of, rural sites, up in the Ocala forest, also in a lot of, open, paddocks and pastures for farms and ranches. I had a really cool project that was up in Silver Springs, outside of Fort McCoy, and that was a custom-built carport structure for a customer of mine. His name was Mr. Young, and Mr. Young, it really pushed me to be, really good, as an expert in this industry. He had 12 companies come out approximately to his home.
Wow.
Whether it was, yeah.
That's a lot of competition.
Having 12 people between, face-to-face interaction and phone and internet, interaction, come to your property in regards to a special project, that just really, opened up a big playing field for me as far as my competitive nature. I played sports my whole life, so being competitive and winning is a big deal to me. And providing my customers the best bang for their buck is also real important too. And that situation really stretched me to the limit. He had a lot of technical questions. He had an engineering mind. He was very analytical. He broke the numbers down to the absolute ridiculous. And with all due respect, it made me, I think it humbled me even more because it made me really appreciate, his due diligence, from, looking at wire sizes to hurricane straps to, different types of treatments on the wood that he wanted to use. And it was just like me and him literally for about 2.5 months were going back and forth between emails and engineering drawings, trying to solidify a deal. And at the end of that, time frame, it was like the 10th round knockout. We were going back and forth, and I finally just, I just got him, and he was very satisfied with the decision at that point, which made me real happy. And make a long story short, on our website, we have several pictures of his job site, but we built a custom carport structure. And he put a 9 kilowatt, almost a 10 kilowatt, solar system on his property. And
is that a big system?
Yeah, it's a large system. It's about 36 panels. It does a lot of electricity for his home, and he has a few other specialty things on his property that he's wanting to add to. He actually this past week had just poured a concrete, paver, and we're going to be doing a separate little solar project for a shed that he's got, by his pond, and then be looking into batteries in the near future too. But that came out really good. It was a custom wood, marine treated .40 yellow wood carport structure, and it's a little over 600 square feet roughly of space, and it's elevated. He added it onto an existing barn. And he just loves it, So that was definitely one of my favorite projects over the last year for sure.
That sounds great. I know your main business is residential. Is there commercial applications for this as well, for solar energy?
Yeah, the commercial applications are definitely existent. There's commercial applications, there's industrial applications. Our business right now is pretty much 100%. Not pretty much, but is 100% residential base. Mm-hmm. We do have a few commercial jobs that we're in the process of working on at the current moment and have been working on over the last year and a half. However, when you're dealing with a project of that caliber, with those types of entities, it's a much longer, process, much longer sales funnel. I think the main reason to that is you got a lot of people in charge, depending on the type of company it is.
How many cooks in the kitchen?
Yeah, pretty much. It's cooking. It's in the crock pot, like slow cooking. So, it's, yeah. But, it'll be nice to get, one or two of those under our belt, hopefully in the coming year, 2017. But like I said, the combination of the boards and the committees and the chairman and the owners of those types of corporations, their process is a lot different than a residential consumer or, our retirees, our blue-collar workers who are really focused on being budget conscious. I really, it's not that I don't want to work with our commercial projects or our industrial projects. Like I said, that's good for the community as a whole. But I really have a lot more satisfaction on a day-to-day basis being able to work with the homeowners face-to-face because I think they really appreciate when they see that, you really do have their best interests at heart. If they know you, they don't care how much you know. I always tell people this. I tell my guys this every day. A homeowner doesn't care how much you know till they know how much you care. So
right.
When they see you have a genuine concern about their utility bill, and you're giving them all the information they need to make a sound decision. So there's no, feeling of bait and switch, or that they made a bad decision after the fact where they're going to have a buyer's remorse. I think that's really what contributes to our company's, ethics, our morals, and our integrity, and our reputation. Our reviews and our ratings speak volumes based off of our customer service. And
I understand that in 6 years you've built up a pretty substantial company. What did you tell me? You had 17 employees?
Yes. And, we've had the opportunity over this last, couple years to, really build a good structural platform, for a individual, whether it's from the install side, the business side, or the sales side, to have an opportunity to, work with solar and green energy. One of our biggest accolades that we were able to accomplish, this year, which will be starting coming 2017, is Home Depot Home Services decided, through our distributor, after their evaluations, to use us as a Home Depot Home Services provider.
Wow.
In a couple of their Home Depot stores. We'll be in the Leesburg store, and we'll also be in the Palatka store come 2017. And, based off of the success that we can build at those storefronts for the store associates and the residents of that community, we'll be able to share that, proprietary information with Home Depot, and hopefully get a few other stores over the year in that same, area between Ocala and, Gainesville, Lake City, that northwest corridor. So that's what we're really striving for.
That's pretty good. How does that work, where people go in the Home Depot and actually buy the equipment and you provide the installation? Is that how that works?
Actually, it doesn't work like that. What it is, we have a store associate that will be inside the store, and we'll have two people per store. So those individuals' responsibilities as a key scope is to, reach out to any of the residents that come into the store that are doing a home improvement project. They'll be able to ask them a few questions if they're interested for a survey, if they own a single-family home. And then they'll be able to determine, from that survey, some of their energy needs, and the homeowners are able to schedule an appointment with us. So I'll have myself as an owner, or I'll have some of our solar technicians in the field, come out with the homeowners, and they'll be able to provide their bills like a normal evaluation. But it just builds a lot more comfort, I think, because you got the Home Depot brand behind you. If Home Depot is there as a support structure and a resource, they have access to using the Home Depot financing options or their Home Depot credit card, or, if they want, they can use our services as well if they want to use an alternative option.
That's a nice option for the homeowner. It gives them more than one way to buy your products. I think that's really something great that's coming out. That's really, really great. This has really been interesting. What would you say is, if a customer was considering to buy solar energy panels for their house, what was the one thing that they should be the most interested in, or the one thing they should pay the most attention to?
I actually think that there's probably two things that they should pay attention to personally. And they kind of go hand in hand. Where the product is being manufactured is a very big key component, at least for us. We built our company brand, All American Solar, based off of using nothing but American-based equipment, and then, obviously, revitalizing the fact of our country's, heritage and roots, that built our nation to be as strong as it is today. So, knowing where the panels and the equipment or the inverters are manufactured, knowing what type of inverter they're getting. Like I said earlier, Joel, we use microinverters, which makes it very modular. If a homeowner's budget can only allow them to do a smaller system to start, they can always come back down the road and plug and play. If they were to go and use a string inverter application, then what's going to happen is they're going to be limited based off the kilowatt capacity. Everybody that they go around to get a bid or a quote from is always going to try to go over the system size on their bill. Well, you have your DC, which is your panel wattage. And in our terms, what we always talk about here at our company is, DC don't count. The only power that matters is your AC power, which is what's coming out of your inverter. Having the right inverter, the right capacity inverter to handle your electrical loads on your home is the most vital part. And that truly is the most important thing the homeowner needs to consider. The panel is important, don't get me wrong, but you want to have a good quality panel that's not going to get destroyed or have poor framing or cheap parts, so it's going to last as long as your inverter is going to last. So the combination of those two is very important for the homeowners to do the research on and make sure they're getting those questions addressed, when they're speaking with a solar company. A lot of companies go out there and they won't share that information to the consumer, which I think is just, completely wrong, because, a homeowner, like I said, this is not a small ticket item.
Right.
You need to know that every, questions answered, all your T's are crossed, I's are dotted, there's no stones left unturned at the end of this process, so that that, it's the best thing for your house and the return on your investment.
Well, it really sounds like you have the customer's best interest at heart, which is very commendable. Congratulations. If people want to get in touch with you, Brandon, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and All American Solar LLC?
We have a few different options, and again, I appreciate the fact that, like I said, our customers are our most important. They can go through our website. It's www.allamericansolarllc.com, and we have a area where they can put a quote request or ask questions on there, and we get that through our email portal. They also can reach us on there. They'll have our company community email as well, where they can send a direct email. And then, of course, they can give us a call on our office phone, which is 386-218-6930. That's 386-218-6930. Or they can go through any of the other platforms like Home Advisor or the Better Business Bureau as well, to get access to our company's credentials.
And your website address is what? allamericansolarllc.com?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's great. This has really been an interesting interview. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to our audience about solar energy, which is a big topic and getting bigger as each year goes by. And I thank you very much, and I want to wish you a happy holiday.
Yes,
and
sir.
To all of our listeners at Main Street Mavericks Radio, I also want to wish you a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy Hanukkah, which is coming up this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, both at the same time, and I hope 2017 is a prosperous year for everyone. This is Joel Helfer from Main Street Mavericks Radio, and we've been talking to Brandon Bing from All American Solar LLC. I hope everyone has a nice day, and we look forward to seeing you and talking with you in the next episode of MainStreetMavericks.com.
You've been listening to Main Street Mavericks Radio with Joel Helfer. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit MainStreetMavericks.com.